Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is the end of March, and for the month of March I've been accepting the challenges that you guys have been giving me, and I've done a few of them. It has been a fun ride, but here to finish up the month I'm going to accept a challenge that's kind of got this whole thing started. Back in July, so not quite a year ago, I did my first extreme budget challenge. I went to Aldi's with $20 and fed my family 5 meals for $20. So I've been challenged to try to do that again. So here I am at my Aldi's. I'm going to go in with $20 and we're going to see what we can eat this week. Let's go. So here is what I got at Aldi for $20. I'm trying to recreate my first extreme budget grocery haul where I fed my family 5 meals for $20 from Aldi. I don't think I can still do it. I actually went over budget. This is $21.52. This is what I've got. I feel very confident about 4 meals. I don't think I'm going to be able to get a 5th meal, not and feed everybody and have their bellies full. So I'm going to say that I'm going to do 4 meals for $20. But I think in almost a year's time with all the inflation, that's still really good. So it's still about $5 a meal. So here is what I got. I got this bag of sweet potatoes. There are, 5 sweet potatoes, 3 large, 2 small. This bag of garden salad, tomato, basil, and garlic pasta sauce. I got some New Orleans style rice, some penne regatta pasta, a box of shells and cheese, crescent rolls. Got some extra sharp cheddar here. I got this crown of broccoli. And then I got this ham steak. It's a really good deal right now at Aldi. It's $4.85. I mean, here's my hand, so you can see how big that is. So we're going to be using that and this beef smoked sausage. So I'm going to bring you along with me this week in the kitchen as we try to turn this $21 into 4 meals to feed a family of 4. So the first meal we are going to make is a cheesy pasta bake. I have this penne regatta, I have tomato, basil, and garlic pasta sauce. I'm going to use half of my block of cheese, and I've got this garden salad to go on the side. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pasta water boiling. And remember, you have to salt your water very liberally. You want it to taste like the ocean. That's the only time that you actually get to flavor the pasta itself. Next, I have shredded half of that block of cheddar cheese. I've got my pasta sauce ready. I have got my pasta cooked, and I have my favorite casserole dish ready. If you know, you know. I also reserved 1 cup of the starchy pasta water. So after I drained the pasta, I poured it into my casserole dish, and we are going to be then adding in the pasta sauce. But first, I'm going to add in some pats of butter. Now, I know I didn't purchase butter, but I'm assuming that people have butter on hand. I just thought that adding the butter would add a little bit more flavor to this dish, and so I added the butter. Next, I added a little bit of coarse black pepper to the top, and then I gave this a stir. And next, I'm going to add in my pasta sauce. This is the tomato, basil, and garlic flavor from Aldi. I'm going to take that starchy water that I saved, and I'm going to pour that inside the jar. I'm going to put the lid on and give this a shimmy shake, and that's just going to get the rest of the pasta sauce off the sides of the jar. And using the starchy water helps to thicken a little bit as well. So I'm going to give that a stir, and then I'm going to stir in about half of the shredded cheese just to have that running through the pasta bake, and then I'm going to top the pasta bake with the rest of the cheese. I am having my oven preheating to 350 degrees so that it will be ready. This is already cooked. My goal with the oven is just to brown up the cheese on top. So I'm going to top my cheese. I'm going to cover this with foil, and then I'm going to bake this in the oven for about 20 minutes. This is my cheesy bake out of the oven. It smells amazing and it looks delicious. And here is my plate. I served this with a side of salad. Taste was amazing. Portion size was amazing. This was definitely a win for this challenge. I even had 2 lunch servings left over. The next night's meal, I am prepping some sweet potatoes for baking. I have 5. I have 3 large and 2 small. I have washed those, and now I'm pricking them with a fork, and I'm going to get them started in the microwave. I'm going to take this ham steak, and I'm going to start cutting it up and placing it in my baking dish. Now, I've got the sweet potatoes in the microwave for about 8 minutes to get them started, and then I will show you what I do next. But once I get all of my ham in my baking dish, I am going to sprinkle with a little bit of brown sugar. I had brown sugar, and I love that with my ham. That is not something that you have to do, but that's what I did. So now I'm going to add just a splash of water to that dish and sprinkle a little bit more brown sugar. I'm going to cover this dish with foil, and I'm going to put it in a 350-degree oven. I want to cover it with foil because I want that water to kind of steam through the ham and the ham not to get dried out. Now I'm just prepping some foil for my potatoes. When they come out of the microwave, I'm going to wrap them in foil. I'm going to place them on this sheet pan and put them in the oven while the ham is baking. I'm also going to get this broccoli ready. In this package, there were 2 broccoli crowns. I'm going to use one for tonight's meal and save the other crown for a different meal. So I'm just going to take some time and trim up this broccoli so that it will be ready to put in my steamer. This insert I've had for quite a while. This is a steam basket that will fit several different size pots, but I just have a little bit of water in the bottom of the pot, and I've added the steam basket, and now I'm adding the broccoli into the steam basket. I'm going to put this on my stove with a lid, and I'm going to let this steam for about 5 minutes. So here you can see my broccoli, my sweet potatoes are done, and all that's left is to plate our dinners. This was delicious. This tasted amazing, and the portion size was good. I think the potatoes helped. We were definitely full, and this was a win. The next night's meal, we are going to take these shells and cheese, this leftover broccoli crown, and the half a block of cheddar cheese, and we are going to make some broccoli mac and cheese. So I have some water on the stove. I'm just going to cook up these shells and cheese according to package directions, and I'm going to go ahead and prep up what's left of this broccoli crown. I am going to be cooking this broccoli in the same pot as the noodles while I'm trying to cook up the shells. So I'm going to go ahead and get all this broccoli cut up, and then I'm going to be adding that to my water when I add the pasta. I'm going to let the broccoli and shells cook for about 8 minutes on the stove. I'm going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees, and then I'm going to drain the broccoli and shells. I am going to then be adding in the cheese sauce that came with the shells and cheese box. I'm then going to give this a really good stir to incorporate, and then I'm going to be adding in the other half of the block of cheese that I had left over. Now, y'all, don't laugh at me, but this cheese, I was going to shred it, and my shredder broke. And I have a backup shredder, and it happened to be in the dishwasher washing. So I had to take my knife and really thinly slice this cheese, but it's going to work just fine. So I'm taking the mixture, the shells and the cheese and the broccoli. I'm going to add about half of the cheese that I very thinly sliced. I'm going to add that in. I'm going to give that a stir, and then I'm going to save the other half to top the casserole with. Next, I'm going to add that to this small casserole dish. I will say, I'm kind of concerned about the portion size on this. I don't know that it's going to feed all 4 of us, at least until we are full. But if you had small children, it might work, but I'm not so sure. So I'm going to top the rest of this with the rest of my cheese. And I'm going to put this in a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. Here is the broccoli mac and cheese out of the oven. It looks delicious. It smells delicious. And I will have to say that once we made our plates, it tasted amazing. Amazing. Definitely a wonderful side dish. Portion-wise, it wasn't enough for my family. Now, my kids are teenagers. If you have small children, it might be enough. The last meal that we are going to make is New Orleans style dirty rice with some smoked sausage. So this says that it has 6 servings and that a serving is a cup, but I'm not so sure. So we're just going to kind of see what happens. But I do have this beef smoked sausage that we are going to use with our dirty rice. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prep my sausage here. I cut it into rounds. I was thinking if you diced it up, it may go further, but I cut it into rounds and then I'm adding it to a skillet to brown up. So I have a skillet on my stove. I have about 2 tablespoons of oil heating up, and I'm going to brown this sausage before I start making the rice. After I have drained about half of the oil off of the smoked sausage, I'm adding in my rice, my seasoning packet, and then I'm going to be adding in the water. I just cook this according to the package directions. I'm going to bring this back up to a boil, and then I am going to cover and turn the temperature down to low and let it simmer for a few minutes. I still have this package of crescent rolls, so I'm just going to bake these up according to the package directions. And here is the skillet finished with the sausage and the rice mixture. I served that up with a crescent roll. This was not my favorite, and it definitely was not enough to feed my family. So it's the end of the week of my $20 Extreme Grocery Challenge, and I got some thoughts to share. First of all, I was trying to recreate the first extreme budget challenge that I did back in July, and that was to finish up my March month of challenges. And so it was a challenge. I went to Aldi and I spent $21 and some change, and there were some good points to it. There were some not good points to it. I was trying to do different meals than I shared on the first challenge. I was trying not to just do rice and beans, because we all know that if we were in a pinch, we could eat a ton of rice and a ton of beans, and that would fill us up. I was trying to be a little bit more creative than that and see what I could do. So here's my reflection. First meal, the pasta bake with the salad, definitely portion size was on point. Taste was on point. It was good. If you had anything extra and wanted to throw in some bread on the side or a little bit of meat in your pasta, that was a great filling meal. So I was very pleased with that meal. The second meal with the ham and the sweet potatoes and the broccoli, that was delicious as well. Definitely enough to feed my family. We had no leftovers that night, but we were full. I think the baked sweet potatoes helped with that. And so that was definitely a win. The third meal, the broccoli mac and cheese, portion size was no. It was not enough to fill us up. Taste-wise, it was excellent. Like, my family loved it. So keep that recipe as a side dish, maybe for Easter coming up. It was really good. And so I was very pleased with that. It just wasn't enough to feed my family. And then the fourth meal, I was not a fan. I think if I had chosen differently at Aldi, it would have been better. But the sausage and that rice mixture, it wasn't hitting it for me. I was thinking, what could I have done differently? If I had it in the budget to buy some russet potatoes or any kind of white potato, yellow potato, I think you could have done a sheet pan meal with the sausage and some potatoes and maybe a green pepper. The thing was, I shopped at Aldi, and at Aldi you have to get 3 peppers. At Aldi you have to get the big bag of potatoes. And so that was my thought process when I was shopping. And so if you were shopping somewhere else like Walmart, you could have done a sheet pan meal with that sausage. I think that would have been much more filling and much better flavor. Also, if you had gotten the bag of potatoes, you could do a potato soup. I did that in my last challenge and I didn't want to do that again. So that was my takeaways from this week. Definitely hard to feed a family 4 meals on $20 right now, especially if you have teenagers like I do. If you have small kids, it's very well possible. So that's my takeaway from this challenge. I'm so excited. This has been so fun. Thanks for all of you that have interacted with me during this month of challenges, and I'm ready to hit April head on. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.